Here's the hard truth, guys. Women have a way of getting what they want, and it's not always by being direct. In the modern dating world, the rules aren't always obvious. Women use strategies and subtle tactics to manipulate men into doing things they want, and many men fall into it without even realizing. It's not about being sneaky or malicious. It's just how the game is played. Men often get caught up in emotions, trying to please, and end up doing things they normally wouldn't. Why does this happen? Because women are in tune with their emotions and know how to leverage them to create the right reactions in men. They don't always say what they want outright, but they know how to get a man to take action. And let's face it, many men don't see it coming. The truth is, if you don't understand the tactics women use, you're going to keep falling for the same patterns. The good news is, once you recognize these moves, you'll be in control of your reactions. In this video, we're going to expose the strategies women use to get what they want from men. This isn't about blaming women or playing the victim card. This is about understanding the game and learning how to handle it like a man. No more being manipulated into doing things that don't serve you or your goals. You can still have respect, connection, and trust with women, but you need to know how to navigate the unspoken dynamics of attraction, relationships, and communication. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just completed section 4 in the course, and these insights aren't shared anywhere else. It's easy to access with multiple secure payment options. There are only 5 discounted slots remaining using the promo code. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or check the link in the description to enroll now before the offer is gone. 1. Using emotions as a weapon. Women know the power of emotions. It's not a trick or manipulation. It's simply how women are wired. Emotions are a currency, and women use them strategically in relationships to guide men's actions. The moment you get emotionally invested, they've got you in their grip. They'll create emotional highs and lows that keep you on your toes, but you won't always realize it. You may start thinking that you need to be more involved emotionally, doing things to keep her happy, and constantly reacting to her mood swings. The truth? That's exactly what she wants. She might cry to get you to feel sorry for her, or use a quiet, distant approach to make you wonder what's wrong. The goal isn't to hurt you, but to get a response, whether it's your time, attention, or effort. The trick here is to make you feel like it's your responsibility to fix whatever feels off. This creates a cycle where you're always playing catch-up, trying to please her, often at the expense of your own emotional well-being. If you're constantly reacting to her emotional triggers, she's controlling the narrative. She's pulling you deeper into her world without you even realizing it. This isn't about love, it's about influence. The challenge for men here is learning to recognize when emotions are being used against you. A woman who is emotionally intelligent knows how to read your reactions and can play you like an instrument. But here's the kicker. When you begin to recognize this emotional pull, you don't need to play the game. The key is to stop reacting emotionally to her every mood swing and start being emotionally steady. If you can keep your emotions in check, you're not giving her the power to influence your decisions or make you act based on her needs. When she tries to pull on your heartstrings, stay calm, stay rational, don't feed into it. It's not about being cold or detached. It's about protecting your peace and not letting her emotional tactics control you. When you stop letting emotions dictate your actions, you'll notice something powerful. Women respect a man who isn't swayed by their emotional ups and downs. They find him steady, reliable, and in control. That's the man they're drawn to. The one who doesn't fall into the emotional traps they set. This doesn't mean you shouldn't care or be compassionate, but it does mean that you should never let someone manipulate your emotions to get what they want. Recognizing when emotions are used to manipulate you is the first step toward taking back control in your relationships. It's about balancing empathy with self-awareness. Don't let emotions rule the game. Be the one who sets the tone. Now that we've tackled emotions, let's move on to the next strategy they use. Stay with me. 2. Playing the victim card. The victim mentality is a powerful tool in any relationship. Women know how to use it to their advantage without even realizing it sometimes. It's not about being manipulative in a malicious sense, but more about creating a narrative that pulls on a man's natural instincts to protect and care. When a woman plays the victim, she subtly shifts the power dynamic in her favor, often without saying a word. You might find her telling you stories about her past that make her seem vulnerable, making you feel like it's your job to fix things or shield her from further pain. Maybe she talks about past relationships where she was hurt, or she focuses on how much she's sacrificed and how much she deserves your attention and care. In some cases, she may even downplay her own achievements or act like she's constantly in need of your help. The moment she gets you to feel sorry for her, you're already on the hook. This tactic works because it appeals directly to your sense of responsibility. As a man, you're wired to protect and provide, and a woman who plays the victim can tap into that instinct with ease. You'll find yourself constantly trying to solve her problems, give her reassurance, or compensate for whatever she's portraying as a weakness or unfair treatment. This isn't just about being helpful, it's about positioning yourself as the savior. It shifts your mindset from being an equal partner to someone who feels like they're always trying to fix things. The danger here is that when you're constantly in fix-it mode, you stop paying attention to what's actually healthy for both of you in the relationship. You start doing things for her, not because you genuinely want to, but because you feel like it's expected. You might end up sacrificing your own needs and desires just to make her feel better. The longer this continues, the more it becomes a pattern, and you lose the balance of power in the relationship. To avoid falling into this trap, you need to recognize when the victim card is being played. A woman who constantly portrays herself as a victim will start to expect you to take responsibility for her emotions, her problems, or even her happiness. This is an unhealthy dynamic. While it's important to be supportive, it's just as critical to set boundaries. You're not her therapist or her emotional crutch. When you stop responding to the victim mentality with overcompensating behavior, you put yourself back in control. You can be supportive without losing yourself in her issues. Show her that you care, but don't let her expect you to be the answer to all of her emotional challenges. This shift is not only healthy for you, but also fosters a relationship where both partners are responsible for their own well-being, not just relying on each other for validation or emotional rescue. In the long run, when you stop letting her play the victim, you'll find that the relationship becomes more balanced and less one-sided. She will respect you more because you're no longer swayed by her attempts to pull at your heartstrings. This doesn't mean you stop being compassionate or caring, but it does mean you're not allowing her to manipulate your emotions into taking on more than what's necessary for the relationship's growth. Now that we've covered playing the victim card, let's dive into another common strategy they use. Keep your focus, it's only going to get more interesting. 3. The silent treatment. One of the most powerful tactics women use to manipulate men is the silent treatment. It's a weapon that doesn't require much effort, but can have a huge impact. When a woman gives you the cold shoulder, it's not just about being upset, it's a calculated move to get you to do something, whether it's apologize, chase after her, or change your behavior. The silent treatment can leave you questioning everything. What did I do wrong? Is she mad at me? Why is she pulling away? For men, this silence can be maddening because you're left in the dark. You don't know how to fix things, what the issue really is, or even if she's going to come around. It triggers a sense of anxiety and urgency in you, making you feel like you need to do something to resolve it. Women know this, and they use silence to create a reaction in you. The goal is simple: to make you uncomfortable enough that you'll work hard to get her attention back. The longer she stays silent, the more you'll feel compelled to reach out and try to resolve whatever the issue might be. What makes the silent treatment so effective is that it plays on your fear of rejection and loss. Men are naturally inclined to avoid conflict, and women know that this tactic will push you to the edge. You'll start second-guessing your actions, wondering if you messed up or if she's just testing you. This creates a pressure that forces you into a position where you feel you have to act in order to fix the situation. But here's the problem. when you react to her silence by chasing after her, apologizing, or over-explaining, you're giving away your power. She's controlling the dynamic without saying a word. This tactic is especially dangerous in the early stages of dating because it can create an unhealthy pattern. The more you respond to the silent treatment by becoming reactive and apologetic, the more she'll use it to control how you act. Eventually, you'll start to feel like you can't do anything right, and she'll have the upper hand in every situation. This leads to frustration and confusion, as you'll constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells, trying to figure out what you did wrong or how to get back in her good graces. To break free from the silent treatment manipulation, the key is to stay calm and not react impulsively. The next time she gives you the cold shoulder, don't chase her or beg for an explanation. Give her space and allow her to come to you when she's ready. When you stop reacting, you're showing her that you're not going to be controlled by her silence. You're not going to let her manipulate your emotions or your behavior. This approach puts the power back in your hands. By not engaging in the silent treatment drama, you also teach her how to communicate more openly and honestly. If she sees that silence doesn't affect you, she might eventually stop using it as a tactic. Relationships thrive on communication, and when you set the tone by not tolerating manipulative silence, you create a stronger, more balanced dynamic between the two of you. Now that we've covered the silent treatment, let's dive into the next tactic that women use to manipulate men. Stick with me, we're just getting started. 4. The I'm fine technique. There's an art to saying I'm fine without actually meaning it. Women have perfected this technique to manipulate the situation without saying exactly what's on their mind. When she says I'm fine, what she's really telling you is that she wants you to figure out what's wrong. It's an indirect way of testing your emotional intelligence and your ability to read between the lines. Most men, however, take it at face value and walk away thinking the problem is resolved, only to find out later that they've misread the situation entirely. The I'm fine technique is a form of passive-aggressive communication. Instead of directly expressing dissatisfaction or disappointment, she gives you the impression that everything is okay. The problem with this, for most men, is that it triggers a false sense of security. You think everything is good, so you stop addressing the issue. However, she's still upset, and the more you ignore it, the more she'll build resentment. Over time, this creates a toxic cycle where she's emotionally distancing herself, but you have no idea why. Eventually, her frustration will come out in some other way, like through the silent treatment, passive-aggressive remarks, or an emotional outburst. But by then, you're already deep into a situation where you don't even know how to fix it. This tactic is manipulative because it forces you to do the emotional labor without her actually telling you what she needs. She's essentially setting you up to fail by not giving you clear communication. You're left to guess and figure out what's wrong, and if you get it wrong, she'll be disappointed in you for not understanding. It's a no-win situation. What makes this even more frustrating is that women often expect men to be mind readers. They want you to pick up on subtle cues, like her tone of voice, body language, or the fact that she's not engaging as much as she normally would. But these things can be confusing and subjective, leaving you in the dark about what to do next. To deal with the I'm fine tactic, the best approach is to ask direct questions and encourage honest communication. When she says she's fine, you don't have to push, but you can say something like, I can tell something's bothering you. We don't have to talk about it now, but I want to know if something's wrong later. This opens the door for her to share her feelings without feeling like she's being forced to do so. If she continues to give you the I'm fine line, don't let it slide. Let her know that you care enough to want to understand, but you can't be expected to fix something when she's not being clear about the issue. The key here is consistency. Keep encouraging open, honest communication. Show her that you're not going to let her sweep things under the rug. Over time, she'll learn that avoiding confrontation won't work with you. But until she gets the message, you'll have to stay firm and not get sucked into her passive-aggressive game. The more you accept this tactic, the more it will undermine your relationship and emotional connection. Now let's move on to the next tactic they use. This one is another classic that plays on your insecurities. Keep watching. This is getting interesting. 5. Playing hard to get. Playing hard to get is one of the oldest tricks in the book, and it still works like a charm today. While it's often seen as a game in the dating world, it's really a psychological tactic that keeps men on their toes and makes them more invested. When a woman plays hard to get, she's essentially testing your level of interest while creating an illusion of scarcity. She keeps you wondering whether she's interested or not, creating a situation where your desire for her intensifies as she becomes harder to reach. This tactic works because it taps into a psychological principle known as the scarcity effect. People naturally want what they can't have, and the more difficult something is to attain, the more valuable it seems. When a woman pulls back, makes herself less available, or doesn't immediately respond to your texts or calls, she's triggering this instinct in you. Your mind starts to work overtime, trying to figure out what you need to do to gain her attention, approval, and affection. This leads you to chase after her, doing everything you can to win her over. The problem here is that men often fall for this cycle. When you're always the one pursuing, you're giving away your power. Instead of letting things develop naturally, you're constantly in a position of need, which leaves you vulnerable to being manipulated. The more you chase her, the more she pulls away, and this creates an emotional roller coaster. You might feel frustrated one moment, elated the next, and confused the one after. It's this emotional back and forth that keeps you hooked. The tactic also works by creating competition in your mind. When a woman acts distant or aloof, you might start thinking there's someone else she's more interested in, or that she's just being courted by many men at once. This increases your desire to be the one who stands out. It's a manipulation of your ego and desire for validation. The moment you start viewing her attention as something you have to fight for, she's already gained the upper hand. You're no longer interacting with her as an equal partner, but as someone who has to prove their worth. To stop falling into this trap, the key is to recognize when you're being manipulated. Playing hard to get is not about the woman being genuinely unsure about her feelings, it's about controlling the pace of the relationship to keep you interested. If you notice a pattern of her pulling away just when things are getting serious, you need to reevaluate the situation. Don't let her control the relationship through emotional manipulation. Take a step back and focus on your own life, your goals, and your happiness. When you stop chasing her, you put the power back in your hands. The important thing to remember is that relationships should be built on mutual respect and effort, not on games and manipulation. If you find yourself constantly jumping through hoops to earn her attention, it's time to assess whether this is the type of dynamic you really want. A healthy relationship is about both people being invested, not one person playing emotional games. When you stop feeding into the hard-to-get act, you'll attract a partner who values you for who you are, not for how hard you're willing to chase after her. Now that you're aware of this powerful manipulation tactic, let's move on to another one that many women use to get what they want. Stay tuned, we're covering it all. 6. The guilt trip. One of the most effective ways women manipulate men is by using the guilt trip. This tactic is often subtle, and it plays directly into a man's desire to be seen as a good guy. Women know that many men, especially those who are caring and conscientious, will go to great lengths to avoid feeling guilty or hurting anyone. So, when she wants something, or when she feels you're not giving her enough attention, she may start laying on the guilt. The guilt trip doesn't always come in the form of a direct accusation. Sometimes it's disguised as something passive like, "I guess I'm just not as important to you as your friends," or "You never seem to have time for me." At first glance, it may appear to be a simple comment, but when you dig deeper, you see that it's a calculated attempt to get you to feel responsible for her emotional well-being. This puts you in a tough spot because it plays on your empathy and your desire to make her feel valued. What makes the guilt trip so powerful is that it shifts the responsibility for her emotions onto you. Instead of her dealing with her own feelings, she makes you feel like you're the cause of her unhappiness. The more you care about her, the more you're likely to start questioning whether you're doing something wrong. This emotional manipulation forces you to adjust your behavior in a way that benefits her. Whether it's spending more time with her, buying her gifts, or apologizing for things you haven't even done. The guilt trip is effective because it preys on your sense of responsibility and your desire to be a good partner. She'll make you feel like you're letting her down and you'll want to make things right. But here's the issue. When you give in to this manipulation, you're allowing her to control the situation by exploiting your empathy. You're putting her needs before your own, which can lead to frustration and resentment down the road. Over time, the guilt trip can become a constant tool for her to get what she wants, leaving you feeling drained and powerless. To break free from the guilt trap, the key is to set boundaries and stop taking on the emotional burden of her feelings. When she tries to make you feel guilty, stand your ground and remind her that her happiness is ultimately her responsibility, not yours. It's important to show empathy without allowing her to guilt you into behaving in a way that's not healthy for you. You can listen to her concerns and express care, but don't let her manipulate you into feeling like you owe her something beyond respect and mutual understanding. The best way to deal with this manipulation is to acknowledge it without taking it personally. If she tries to guilt trip you, calmly respond by saying something like, "I can see that you're upset, and I want to understand what's going on, but I can't be responsible for your happiness." This approach lets her know that you care, but won't be manipulated into a guilt-induced response. It helps to put the focus back on the issue at hand and keeps you from becoming a pawn in her emotional game. As with any manipulation tactic, the more you resist giving in to the guilt trip, the less likely she is to use it on you in the future. She'll learn that you won't be easily swayed by emotional blackmail. It's a way of taking control of the situation without allowing her to dictate the terms of your relationship. Now, let's move on to another subtle but effective tactic that many women use to manipulate men. Stay with me. This is critical for your success. 7. The emotional rollercoaster. Women are experts at creating an emotional roller coaster, and this tactic is one of the most effective ways to manipulate men. This strategy works by playing with your emotions, shifting between love, warmth, distance, and coldness in such a way that you never quite know where you stand. It keeps you on edge, constantly trying to figure out if you're in her good graces or if something's wrong. And because emotions are often tied to our deepest instincts, this unpredictability can make it difficult for a man to stop chasing, even when he knows something isn't right. The emotional roller coaster creates an environment where the man is always uncertain, but also emotionally attached. One day, everything feels great. She's affectionate, you're happy, and everything seems perfect. Then, without warning, she pulls back. She becomes distant, unresponsive, or even passive-aggressive. This sudden shift leaves you feeling confused and unsure, and that's exactly what she wants. By flipping the emotional switch back and forth, she keeps you in a state of emotional dependence, always needing to know if you're on the same page. What makes this tactic so manipulative is that it preys on your desire for emotional stability and consistency. You crave that connection, that reassurance that everything is going well, and when it disappears without warning, it leaves a void. You start to obsess over what went wrong, trying to fix the situation, and in the process, you become more emotionally invested in her and the relationship. The more you invest emotionally, the harder it becomes to detach yourself when she pulls away. Eventually, you're hooked, caught in a cycle where you're working harder than she is to keep things together. This roller coaster ride can also make you feel like you're in a relationship that's constantly in flux. It might feel like every little thing you do or say could either make or break the connection. One minute, she's giving you all her attention, and the next, you feel like you've done something wrong. Your mind races, trying to figure out if it's something you said or did, and that keeps you engaged in the relationship on an emotional level. You become fixated on her moods and the unpredictable shifts in her behavior. Over time, this can lead to feelings of insecurity and frustration. To break free from this cycle, you need to learn how to manage your emotions and avoid getting caught up in her manipulative tactics. The key is to recognize when she's playing with your emotions. If you notice a pattern of her being hot and cold, it's important to detach emotionally and focus on your own stability. Stop trying to fix the situation because most of the time there's nothing to fix. It's her manipulating the emotional environment to keep you hooked. Set boundaries and make sure you're not overly invested in a relationship that causes emotional instability. Let her know that you're not going to chase after her every time she pulls away. Emotional ups and downs are normal, but deliberate manipulation is not. If she wants to create a stable relationship, she has to be consistent with her emotions and actions. It's as simple as that. If she's unwilling to do that, it's time to walk away and find a relationship that's rooted in mutual respect and emotional balance. The emotional roller coaster is one of the most subtle but powerful tools in a woman's arsenal. It may take some time to recognize it for what it is, but once you do, you can take the necessary steps to protect your emotional well-being. Now that we've covered this, let's dive into the final conclusion, wrapping everything up and leaving you with key takeaways that will empower you in your future relationships. Stay tuned, this is essential. In conclusion, understanding these tactics is crucial for any man who wants to navigate modern relationships with confidence and awareness. Women are skilled at using psychological strategies to gain control. But once you recognize these behaviors, you can stop being manipulated. Whether it's playing hard to get, guilt-tripping, or creating emotional chaos, these tactics are designed to keep you hooked and under her influence. If you're serious about mastering the dating game, don't miss out on my exclusive online course. We go beyond what's covered in these videos, giving you powerful insights from the first approach to lasting attraction. Only 5 discounted slots remain, and it's easy to enroll with secure payment options. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or simply click the link in the description to secure your spot. Don't wait until it's too late. Take action now and start transforming your dating life today.